Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, I will be covering Unit 3, that is Servlets in Web Technologies. Friends, I will explain each and every topic in detail. If you are watching this video for the first time, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. And friends, I have uploaded complete web technology tutorials. I will provide link in description. You can watch from there. Let's get started. At first, I will start with introduction to servlets. Servlets are nothing but they are Java programs that runs on Java enabled web server and application server. We can also call these servlets as Java servlets because we are writing this in Java language. This is definition of servlets. Whatever the request that was sent by client, the servlet will provide response to those requests. For example, if there is an user, whatever the request that was sent by user, then this servlet will provide response to that request. So main use of servlet is to provide response to the user. Whatever the request that was sent by user, then servlet will provide response to those requests. There are two important properties of servlet. First one is servlet work on server side, and this servlet is capable of handling complex request. Even if this servlet receive complex request from client, then the servlet is capable of handling those requests. These are the two important properties of servlet. Next, servlet architecture. For example, if there is an user from his web browser, he will send request to web server. This user from his web browser sends request to web server. This request is known as HTTP request. Whenever this user send HTTP request, this web server will receive this HTTP request and this web server will send this request to servlet. From database, this servlet will process the request and provide response to the client. This user will receive response. I will explain once again. For example, if there is an user from his web browser, he will send request to web server. This request is known as HTTP request. Whenever this user send HTTP request to web server, then this web server will receive this request and this web server will send this request to servlet. Then this servlet will access this request, process the request and then provide response to those requests. This servlet will send response to web server and this web server will send response to user. This is architecture of servlet. This is servlet architecture. If this question comes in exam, then you need to write this diagram and you need to explain all these steps in step-by-step manner. Advantages of Java servlet. There are so many advantages of Java servlet when compared to CGI, that is Common Gateway Interface. First advantage is servlet is faster than CGI because there is no need of creating multiple processes for each request in servlet. I will give one diagram so that you can clearly understand difference between CGI and servlet. If you construct this diagram, if you see in CGI, if user send one request, one process is created. If user send another request, another process is created. How many requests that user will send, that many processes is created in CGI. So CGI is very slow. But whereas in servlet, though if user send multiple requests, one process is enough to handle all those requests. So this CGI is very slow when compared to servlet. This is advantage. Servlet is faster than CGI. And next advantage is, as we all know, servlet is written in Java language. So it is platform independent. Platform independent means we can create multiple APIs in servlet. API stands for Application Programming Interface. And it is platform independent and portable. Portable means we can copy servlet program and we can paste it into another device. That is, we can copy servlet program from one device to another device is known as portable. Next, applications of servlet. By using servlet, we can read explicit data. Explicit data means data which is in HTML form. And we can also read implicit data. We can send explicit data and we can send implicit data. These are 4 points in application of servlet. And last point is we can process data and generate result in servlet. Next topic is CGI, that is Common Gateway Interface. CGI is same as servlet. Whenever user send particular request, CGI will provide response to those requests which was sent by user. There is only one difference between CGI and servlet. Difference is that in CGI, if user send one request, one process is created. And if user send another request, another process is created. How many requests that user will send, that many process we need to create in CGI. So it is time taking process and this process is very slow. And whereas in servlet, though if you send multiple requests, there is only one process enough to handle all the requests. So servlet is faster when compared to CGI. This is only difference between CGI and servlet. This is architecture of CGI. Whenever client mean user, whenever user send request, server receive that request and the server will send that request to CGI. Then CGI will provide response to server and the server will provide response to user. This is structure of CGI, that is common gateway interface. Difference between CGI and servlet. Servlets are portable and efficient. Portable mean we can copy servlet program from one system to another system, whereas CGI is not portable. In servlet, sharing data is possible and in CGI sharing data is not possible. Servlets can directly communicate with web server, but we cannot directly communicate with web server in CGI. Like servlets are less expensive. This cost is very less and CGI cost is more. And servlets can handle cookies and CGI cannot handle cookies and sessions. In servlet there is better performance, but in CGI performance is very less when compared to servlet. It is platform independent and it is platform dependent. By using servlet we can communicate with another applications like RMI. We can also communicate with another applications by using servlet such as RMI, where RMI stands for remote method invocation, and we cannot communicate with another applications in CGI. And last point is servlets are secure. Hacker cannot hack this servlet program, but whereas in CGI there is less security, so hacker can easily hack CGI. These are the difference between servlet and CGI. Next, life cycle of servlet. This is one of the important questions in servlet. Life cycle. From creating servlet to till destroying servlet, this entire process is known as life cycle. For example, if you consider human being also contains life cycle. For example, person will born and he will grow up, he will go to school, he will go to college and he will do job, and then at last he will die. This entire process is known as life cycle. Similarly, servlet also contains life cycle. There are 3 stages involved in servlet life cycle. First stage is init method. Init stands for initialization. In initialization stage we will create servlet. After creating servlet, next step is service method. This is one of the important step in servlet life cycle. After creating servlet, main use of servlet is servlet will provide response to the request. Whatever the user send request to servlet will provide response to those requests in service method. This is actual method. In the service method, servlet will provide service to the request. Whatever the user send request to servlet will provide response to those requests in service method. And after servlet provides service, last step is destroy method. In destroy method, we will destroy servlet. That means we will delete, we will kill that servlet. These are the 3 stages in life cycle of servlet. Nothing but removing servlet. This is diagram of servlet life cycle. Init method, after that service method. In service method, servlet is in service. It contains loop. This is actual method, perform actual task. In service method, servlet will perform actual task. And at last, destroy method. This is structure of life cycle of servlet. Before creating servlet, we need to perform 2 things. First one is we need to load servlet class. We can load servlet class by using class loader. And after loading servlet class, next step is creating instance of servlet. We can create instance of servlet by using web container. These are the 2 things that we need to do before creating servlet. First step is servlet class is loaded. We can load servlet class by using class loader. After loading servlet class, next step is we need to create instance of servlet. We can create instance of servlet by using web container. After creating instance of servlet, next one is, this is actual method, init method. This is first step. In init method, we will create servlet. For that, we need to write the syntax public void init, where init stands for initialization. In initialization phase, we will configure servlet. Servlet config throws servlet exception. This is syntax for init method. And after init method, next one is service method. In service method, whenever user send request to servlet servlet will provide response to those requests. This is actual method. This is syntax for service method. Public void service servlet request servlet response throws servlet exception and IO exception. The meaning of this syntax is whatever the request that was sent by user, servlet will provide response to those requests. And at last, third one, that is destroy method. In destroy method, we need to kill that servlet. This is syntax public void destroy. This is syntax to destroy servlet. These are the three steps involved in life cycle of servlet. Next, architecture of servlet. This is architecture of servlet. Whenever user send request to web server will send a request to servlet container. Servlet container is present in Java virtual machine. In order to handle this request, servlet container will create servlet. In order to handle request, servlet container will create servlet. As we know, servlet contains three methods. First one is init method. Init method is to create servlet, and after that service method. In order to handle this request, we need service method, and at last, after handling request, at last we need to destroy servlet. This is destroy method. In order to handle each request, we need to create one thread in service method. In service method, for each request, we need to create one thread, and the servlet will provide response to this web server. This is architecture of servlet. Next topic is deploying a servlet. We also call this deploying as executing. How we will execute servlet? There are completely 6 steps involved in executing servlet. On that first one is creating directory structure. We need to create directory structure because this directory structure will define where to store different kinds of files that are present in web application. There are so many files that are present in web application, and in order to store that file in particular location, we need directory structure. And web container will take information from web application in order to respond to the client. And this web container is one of the component of web server. This web container is used to interact with servlet, and this web container is also used to manage lifecycle of servlet. There are two things that web container will do. First one is web container will interact with servlet, and next one is web container will manage lifecycle of servlet. Directory structure contains 3 parts. On that first one is web information folder, and second one is HTML, CSS, JavaScripts, and at last third one is static resource. These are the 3 parts that directory structure contains. If you see this diagram, web application, this is folder. This is web application folder, and it acts as root element. Inside a web application folder, there are 3 subfolders. First one is web information folder, and next one is HTML, CSS, JavaScripts, and at last third one is static resource. And inside web information folder, there are 3 things. First one is classes, next one is web.xml file, and at last third one is library folder. These are the 3 files that web information folder contains. This is diagram of directory structure. In step 1, we have created directory structure, and in step 2, we need to create servlet. We can create servlet in 3 ways. First one is by implementing servlet interface, and second one is by inheriting generic servlet class, and third one is by inheriting HTTP servlet class. These are the 3 ways to create servlet. Among these 3, by inheriting HTTP servlet class is widely used among these 3. In order to communicate with client and server, whenever user send HTTP request, in order to handle this HTTP request, servlet uses some of the methods like doGet method, doPost method, and so on. These are the methods that are used in order to handle HTTP request, and these methods are also used to communicate with client and server. This is syntax to create servlet. This is syntax in order to create servlet. Public class demo servlet. This is name of servlet which I have given. Public class demo servlet extends HTTP servlet. This extend is used because we are inheriting, so we need to use extend keyword here. In step 3, After creating servlet, we need to compile that servlet in step 3. In order to compile servlet, we use jar file, where jar stands for Java archive. We need jar file in order to compile servlet, and we can load this jar file in two ways. First one is by setting class path, and next one is by pasting jar file in this location. By pasting jar file in JRE library extend location. In this location, we need to paste our jar file. These are the two ways we can load jar file. Here JRE stands for Java Runtime Environment, and different kinds of servers use different kinds of jar files. And in Apache Tomcat server we use API.jar file, where API stands for Application Programming Interface. This is the jar file that we use in Apache Tomcat server. After compiling servlet, next step is to create a deployment descriptor. In fourth step, we need to create deployment descriptor. Deployment descriptor is nothing but it is a XML file, and this deployment descriptor file contains all the information related to servlet. This XML file contains servlet, servlet name, servlet class, and URL pattern, and so on. And this web container uses parsers in order to get information from XML file. There is huge amount of information present in this XML file, and in order to get this information, web container uses parser. In fourth step, we have created deployment descriptor. In fifth step, we will start server and then we will deploy project. In order to start server, at first you need to open Apache Tomcat folder, and inside Apache Tomcat folder, there is another folder called bin directory. Open this bin directory folder, and inside this bin directory folder, there is one file called startup.bat. You need to open this startup.bat file, and when you click on this file, your server will start. And in order to deploy project, in order to execute our project, you need to copy your project, and inside Apache Tomcat folder, there is another folder called web apps. You need to open this web apps folder, and then you need to paste your project inside this folder. And at last, sixth step is to access servlet. In order to access servlet, you need to open this URL, HTTP, host name, port number, and context root and URL pattern. This host name is localhost, and port is any port you can give for this. Context root is demo folder. This is location in order to access our servlet. These are the 6 steps involved in deploying a servlet. Next topic is Tomcat server, and also I will explain difference between JDSK and Apache Tomcat server. If you want to go for serious server-side programming, then servlets are best choice, and these servlets are executed in special environment. In order to execute servlet, we need one servlet container. That servlet container name is Tomcat. This is servlet container in order to execute our servlet. Tomcat is open source product. That means we can download Tomcat server with free of cost in internet. It is maintained by Jakarta project of Apache Software Foundation. Tomcat server is developed by Apache groups, and it is maintained by Jakarta project. Tomcat is basically a servlet container. As I already said before, Tomcat is servlet container that contain information like class, libraries, documentation, and runtime support. These are the things that Tomcat server contains. And by using this, we can execute servlet, and also we can test servlet. And in order to execute servlet, we need to install 2 softwares in our system. First one is JDK, that is Java Development Kit, and next one is Tomcat server. We need JDK because servlets are written in Java. Servlets are nothing but they are Java files. So we need Java Development Kit in order to run servlet. And next one is Tomcat server. Tomcat server is container. It is also used to execute servlet. Next, JDSK. JDSK stands for Java Development Standard Edition Kit. JDK is developed by Sun Microsystems. Sun Microsystems developed this JDK, and this JDK is useful for creating and executing Java files. In order to create Java applications, we use JDSK. In order to develop, that means in order to create, and in order to deploy, that means execute. In order to create and in order to execute Java applications, we use JDSK. Now I will explain difference between JDSK and Apache Tomcat. In order to create core Java application, we use JDSK. And in Apache Tomcat server, we can execute server-side programs like servlets, and also we can execute JSPs in Apache Tomcat server. JDSK is developed by Sun Microsystem, and whereas Apache Tomcat is developed by Apache Groups. And in order to execute servlets and JSP, we need both JDSK and as well as Tomcat server installed in our system. These are the difference between JDSK and Apache Tomcat. Next topic is Servlet API, where API stands for Application Programming Interface. In order to represent interfaces and classes for Servlet API, we use two packages. First one is Java X.Servlet and next one is Java X.Servlet.htp. These are the two packages that are used to represent interfaces and classes for Servlet API. Java X.Servlet package contains many interfaces and classes. Similarly, Java X.Servlet.htp also contains interfaces and classes. And interfaces and classes which are in Java X.Servlet package is used by servlet or web container. The servlet or web container uses these interfaces and classes which are present in Java X.Servlet package. Whereas Java.Servlet.htp package also contains interfaces and classes, and these are responsible for handling HTTP requests. These are the interfaces in Java X.Servlet package. You need to remember all this in your exam. You need to write at least 5 in your exam. First one is servlet, and next one is servlet request. Third one is servlet response. Fourth one is request dispatcher, and fifth one is servlet config. Servlet config means servlet configuration and servlet context. All these are interfaces that are present in Java X.Servlet package. Similarly, these are the classes in Java X.Servlet package. First one is generic servlet, second one is servlet input stream, and third one is servlet output stream. Fourth one servlet request wrapper and servlet response wrapper. You need to write at least 5 in your exam. Now interfaces in Java X.Servlet HTTP package. First one is HTTP servlet request, HTTP servlet response, HTTP session, and so on. And in Java X.Servlet HTTP, these are the classes that are present. First one is HTTP servlet, next one cookies, and HTTP servlet request wrapper, servlet response wrapper, session event, and so on. These are the classes and interfaces in Java X Servlet package and Java X Servlet HTTP package. Next topic is cookies in Java Servlet. Cookies are nothing but they are small text files that are stored in user's system. For example, if there is an user, you open one website. That website contains username and password. Once this user enters his username and password, and when you click on login, it will ask for remember. If you click on that remember button, then cookies are created in his computer. Cookies are nothing but they are small text files that are present in user's computer. For example, if you consider some website like Instagram, I entered my Instagram ID and password, and I clicked on login. When I click on login, it will ask for remember. If you click on this remember, next time you need not to enter your username and password again. So once I click on remember, cookies are created in your system. Cookies are nothing but they are small text files. This is structure of cookies. Browser, there is one browser and one server. Whenever user send request is nothing but entering username and password. Then server will provide response and as well as cookies. Next time user need not to enter username and password again. Just you need to send request and as well as cookies. There are two types of cookies. First one is non-persistent cookies and next one is persistent cookies. Non-persistent cookies are also known as temporary cookies. Once user closes browser, cookies are deleted in non-persistent cookies. These are known as non-persistent cookies. Whereas persistent cookies are present in his system until that user delete that file. Until user delete that particular file, cookies are present. This is known as persistent cookies. We also call these persistent cookies as permanent cookies. In order to create cookie, there are 3 steps. On that first one is creating cookie object. At first we need to create cookie. Cookie C equal to new cookie of name comma value. Cookie, and I given this cookie name as C, equal to new cookie, and I am giving name and value as parameters. After creating cookie, next step is Set maximum age. Set maximum age mean how much time that cookies should be present in your system. This is known as lifespan of cookie. For that, this is syntax. C, because here I given cookie name as C. So here you need to write C. C dot set maximum age 60 into 60 into 24. That means 24 hours. The meaning of this 60 into 60 into 24 is that is 1 day. 1 day cookie will be present in your system, where this C is cookie name. This is how you can set maximum age to cookies. And at last, third step is send cookies into HTTP response header. We need to send these cookies into HTTP response header. For that, this is syntax. Response dot add cookie. I am adding this cookie into response dot header. So response dot add cookie, where C is cookie name. Next topic is sessions in Java servlet. The meaning of session is particular interval of time. For example, I opened website, I accessed that website, and then I closed that website. This entire process is known as session. Session is nothing but particular interval of time. As we know, HTTP is stateless protocol. The meaning of stateless protocol is each request is treated as new request. For example, whenever user send request, that each request is treated as new request. This is meaning of stateless protocol. As we know, HTTP is stateless protocol. In order to maintain state, we use sessions. For example, if you see this diagram, this is diagram of HTTP protocol. Whenever user send request to server, server treat this request as new request, and then server will provide response. Similarly, whenever this user sends same request again, this request is also treated as new request. So server cannot identify this user. Server cannot remember this user. So it treated this user as new user again. So in order to maintain state, that is in order to remember users, we use session. Both sessions and cookies are same. Only difference is that in cookies are stored in client side, and whereas sessions are stored in server side. This is only difference between cookies and sessions. The rest of them are same. There are 4 techniques used in session tracking. First one is cookies, and next one is hidden form fields, and third one is URL rewriting, and at last fourth one is HTTP session objects. These are the 4 techniques that are used in session tracking. Next topic is connecting to database using JDBC. JDBC stands for Java Database Connectivity. It is an advancement of ODBC, that is Open Database Connectivity. There are so many problems in ODBC, that is Open Database Connectivity. In order to overcome these problems in ODBC, JDBC was introduced, where JDBC stands for Java Database Connectivity. What are the drawbacks in ODBC? First drawback is ODBC is platform dependent. That means, for example, if I written program in Windows and if I execute that same program in Linux, I will get error. So ODBC is platform dependent. That means we cannot execute program which is written in Windows to Linux. This is one of the major drawback in ODBC. And another drawback is ODBC API was written in language like C, C++. So this C, C++, all these are old languages, and that too they are platform dependent languages. So in order to overcome this problem, JDBC was introduced. JDBC was written in Java language. This is definition of JDBC. JDBC is standard application programming interface that is developed in order to move data from front end to back end. The use of JDBC is to move data from front end to back end. And JDBC API contains classes and interfaces that are written in Java language. And JDBC is platform independent. That means, for example, if I written a program in Windows and I copied that same program in Linux, even though that program will work. That means if you change platform, even though program will work. This is structure to connect database and JDBC. There is Java application. I written this Java application using JDBC API. So this Java application contains JDBC API, where API stands for application programming interface. And in order to connect Java application and database, we need one driver. The driver name is JDBC driver. This JDBC driver is used to connect Java application with database. There are various kinds of databases like Oracle, MySQL, MS Access, etc. These are various kinds of databases, and there are 5 steps involved in order to connect Java application with database. They are: first one is register driver class, second one is create connection. After creating connection, we need to create statement. After creating statement, execute queries, and at last, after executing queries, we need to close connection. These are the 5 steps involved in order to connect Java application with database. In order to register driver class, for name method is used. This is syntax to create driver class: public static void for name. This for name method is used to create driver class. And next one is creating connection object. In order to create connection object, we need a method called get connection method. This get connection method is used to create connection object, and this is syntax. And third one is creating statement object. Create statement method is used to create statement object. Fourth one is executing query. In order to execute query method is used. And after executing query, final step is to close connection. For that, we use this syntax connection.close. Close method is used in order to close connection, where CON stands for connection. Next topic is reading servlet parameter. We can also call this as reading form data, or we can also call this as handling HTTP request and response in servlet. For these three questions, program is same. Reading servlet parameters. There are two methods that are used in order to send information from browser to server. First one is get method, and next one is post method. These are the two methods that are used in order to send information from browser to server. This both get method and post method are same. Only difference is that get method is secure, and whereas post method is not secure. Whatever the data that user has entered, it will appear on URL in post method, and whatever the data that user has entered, the data will appear in encoded format. So hacker cannot hack this data in get method. So get method is secure, and whereas post method is not secure. Only difference is this. Reading form data using servlet. Servlet handle form data by using three methods. First one is get parameter method, and next one is get parameter values method, and third one is get parameter names method. First one, get parameter method. In order to get value of form parameter, we use get parameter method. If parameter appears more than once and returns multiple values, then we use get parameter values method. Example checkbox. And if you want complete list of all parameters in your request, you use get parameter names method. These are the three methods that are used to handle form data. In order to handle HTTP request and response, these are the methods that we use. First one is do delete method, do get method, do post, do put. All these are the methods that are used to handle HTTP request and response. Among all these methods, do get and do post methods are commonly used. Guys, if you get this question in exam, any of this question in exam, program is same for all these questions. I will write program. Guys, there are only two programs in this unit, and these programs are very easy to remember. Just if you practice twice, you will remember these programs. First, I need to create HTML program. I am giving HTML program name as color.html. I am writing HTML program, HTML body center, and similarly we need to close this center, and we need to close body, and we need to close HTML. Inside this, I am creating form. Inside this, I am creating form. So open form tag. I am giving form name as welcome. This is form name which I have given, and method is get method. I am using get method, and action is URL. In action, we need to paste URL. After that, enter your name. Input type is text, and name is name. Break tag. By writing this line of code, there is one box created, and heading is enter your name. By writing this, there is one box created, that is text field. In this, we need to enter text, because here input type is text. So we need to enter text inside this, and I given this name as name. And similarly, next input type is submit, and value is submit. By writing this line of code, there is one button created. That button name is submit. In order to create this username and submit button, you need to write this code, and at last you need to close this form tag. I opened form tag. Inside form tag I return two lines of code. One is to create text field, and that text field name is enter your name, and another one is button. That button name is submit button. For example, here if I give a login button, then login button gets created. This is program of HTML. After writing HTML program, next you need to write Java program. It is nothing but servlet program. Demo servlet.java. This is Java program. At first you need to import packages. In servlet program, at first you need to import packages. I am importing 3 packages. First one is java.io.star, and next one is javax.servlet.star, and third one is javax.servlet.http.star. These are the 3 packages that I have imported. After that you need to create servlet. For that, public class, I am giving class name as demo servlet. Demo servlet. This is class name which I have given. Extends http servlet, open bracket. I have created servlet. That servlet class name is demo servlet. After that, service method, public void doGet. DoGet is method which I am using to handle service. http servlet request comma http servlet response throws servlet exception comma io. I created servlet, and then I created service method. For each and every program till here, program is common. After that you need to write response.set content type. I am giving content type as response. Content type is text file, so text or HTML. After that, print writer pw equal to response.get writer. I am creating print writer, and this print writer name is pw. So string name equal to request.get parameter name. The meaning of this line is, in previous program I written here name. For example, if I entered here Sai, so this string will take request as Sai. This is meaning of this. I will write program so that you can clearly understand. Here I given print writer name as pw, so here also you need to take pw dot println of welcome plus name, and after that we need to close print writer. Print writer is used to generate output. Close pw close, and you need to close this, and similarly you need to close this. The meaning of this code is, for example, if you see this color.html, here action equal to http, have given URL. If you click on this URL, you will get screen like this, and inside this screen I have entered my username as Sai, and then I clicked on login. Once you clicked on login, you will get output like welcome Sai, because here I took parameter as name, and output should be welcome plus name. So in this I have entered name as Sai, so here also output is welcome Sai. For example, here I took Raju, then here output is welcome Raju. This is meaning of this code, where print writer is used to print output, and I took a parameter as name, and I am printing output as welcome plus name. This is meaning of this program. Last topic, that is reading initialization parameters. Most of the time, whatever the data that user has entered, like username, password, and Gmail IDs, etc., whatever the data that user has entered, the data is stored in reduction mode, because in order to maintain space. If data is not stored in reduction mode, then data will occupy more space and there is more chances for errors. So always data is stored in reduction mode. In web.xml file, using init parameter, we can pass some parameters to servlet. We can pass some parameters to servlet by using init parameter tag. This init parameter tag is XML tag. And also we can specify name and value of parameter. We can specify name and value of parameter by using parameter name tag and parameter value tag. These are the 2 tags that are used in order to specify name and value parameters. I will write one program. This small program, as I said before, for each and every servlet program till here same, till here we can write same. At first I am importing packages. First package is Java IO package, and next one is Java X Servlet package, Java X Servlet HTTP packages. These are the three packages that I have imported. And after that I am creating class. That class name is demo servlet. Public class demo servlet extends HTTP servlet. After creating class, I need to handle request. For that I am using doGet method. doGet method is used to handle HTTP request and response. And after that response content type is text, because I am creating text file. And after that I given print writer. Print writer is used to generate output, and I given print writer name as out. Print writer out equal to response dot get writer. After that I am configuring servlet. For that servlet configure equal to get servlet configure. This line, by this line we can configure servlet. String driver equal to configure get init parameter. This is driver which I have created. So I need to include double quotations in driver. The driver is string driver, and this init method stands for initialization. I am initialization parameter. And at last out.print. Out.print is used to generate output. Output is driver is plus driver. That means output will be generated as driver. Driver name is here driver. Whatever the driver that I have installed, it will appear here. And after that, after installing driver, we need to close connection. For that out.close. Here in print writer, I given print writer name as out. So here also we need to use out.print, and similarly out.close. This is the meaning of this. I am closing print writer. That print writer name is out. After writing Java program, we need to write web.xml program. At first you need to create tag. First I created tag. The tag name is web app. This is root element. Web app is root element. I open web app tag, and similarly I closed this web app tag. Inside web app I am writing two parameters. First one is servlet. Inside servlet I given servlet name as demo servlet and servlet class as demo servlet. First I created web application tag, where web application is root element, and inside root element I created servlet. That servlet tag contains servlet name and servlet class. After creating servlet name and servlet class, you need to create init parameter. And init parameter also contains parameter name and parameter value, where parameter name is driver and parameter value is sun.jdbc odbc driver. These are the name and value of init parameter. After that I need to create servlet mapping. Inside servlet mapping I given servlet name as demo servlet and URL pattern as servlet1. This is web XML folder. Guys, this program is little tough, but if you practice then it will be easy for you. This program is written in order to install driver. In order to install driver, I written this program. Here driver is driver. So here I am installing driver. The driver name is JDBC ODBC driver. So here output is driver is JDBC ODBC driver. This is output for this program. This is how we can read initialization parameter. Guys, I have uploaded complete web technology tutorials. I will provide link in description. You can watch from there. Thank you.